So this is the newest Grand Gaia Chronicle that should have gotten like months ago, like 4 months ago, 5 months ago. Now it's 7 stars out. It's really a piece of cake. So just for ease of use, I'm going to be using this team. It's a Feeble Lead, Centaur, and Faithful. Tons of BC generation. Shara, Malice, Jewel, and Flagflower for BC gen. Extra damage and stats. Cannon, Dandelka, and Soul Crater. Crave, Malice, Jewel, and Heresy Orb. And I brought along Tora with Malice and Issues. And Friend, Cult with Blighted Seal and Heresy Orb. So this is the setup for this team. Pretty much going to show you how easy it is, because this team focuses more on damage but still has a ton of survivability. So it's the first turn. I'm going to put a Holy Fluid on just to get things rolling. After this, I'll get my full SPBs up. Should be easy from there on out. Here, so Lock still hurts, so I'm going to use Shara's BB. And of course, whenever your mitigator has BB, you want to try and keep that up as well. Right, so now Viva for the drops. And it really doesn't matter what order you use your BBs in after that, in my opinion. Things should be pretty easy after that. Then once you get your BBs rolling, it should be pretty easy. So originally, this was supposed to be one of the more difficult Grand Gaia Chronicles when it first came out. We were supposed to use like Arden and Fiora, like Darwin Shell, because Shara wasn't out yet. Now, I don't know, it's pretty easy. Cannon for the status ailments and defense buff, Shara for her attack buff, which is not really needed, just need a mitigator. Quaid is for the elements. Heroes of Palmina aren't light or dark, so super effective across the board. Fiba for the Battle Crystal, Heart Crystal generation. And of course, Tora for status ailments, she's the queen of that. And then I brought Cult along for more HP and recovery, plus extra damage, just to kill things quick. And here we have Dean. Dean was, at one point, really strong when he first came out. He was probably the second strongest unit in the game when he came out. Locke was the first one because, as you guys know, Thunder beats Water. We didn't have many AoE BB units, and the stats were the highest at one point. I remember the ideal team in Arena was 5 Locke. Because having 5 Deans in the arena means you get completely destroyed by 5 Locks. So He was the second strongest unit. And then after that, I'm sure you guys have heard of Korean Cephia. That batch came out, and that was broken beyond everything because they're only weak to each other, and they could only beat each other out. So that was pretty much the meta after Locke and Dean. Dean was still good. I mean, if you had like 5 Deans, that was like a really good arena team. So here I was able to actually poison these men. But at a 6-star form, he kind of got more useless. Fortunately, there was only a... Oh, entire team's getting poisoned. Paralyzed. Let's see, status elements. OP. But he dies. Unfortunate. Poison is OP. Saves lives. Should carry a unit like Tora with you for these cases. This stage is probably the hardest one. Out of all of them, I'd say Dean and Edea is like kind of the easiest. But Lauren's stage, he hits really hard on his single target, so you actually want to make sure your Earth units are like bulkier than the rest. So if you only have like 1 or 2 mouse jewels, you want to put that on those units because bad things happen. And he targets your Earth units. Quay is probably the best unit to bring for this in terms of just putting in extra damage. So he's the most vulnerable to dying in this stage. If you bring Tora, it's not necessary, but I like to because nobody uses Tora. She's still pretty good in my opinion, just for adding whatever status elements you can give. And like injury, poison, stuff like that all helps out. Yeah, the damage. So if this was a 6-star Earth unit, it would probably be dead. I'm glad it's not. Otherwise, I'd have to probably be using revives on this stage. Keeping up your BBs would be more difficult if there wasn't a Fiva. That's why I think you would probably bring something like a Lily or Elsa lead here, just to maintain it against single target. But with Fiva, only one is necessary. And Cult is just for more damage. If you wanted a different lead, you could probably make Cannon a lead as well. Cannon and Fiva works for more teams that are looking to survive better, because the 30% defense does help. Now, this is Edea. Edea starts out in her 5-star form before going to 6-star. So she's really easy to kill in this stage. But when she transforms, you'll have to look out because all the other heroes will be coming back one after another. First it's Lauren, then I think it's Locke, then Dean, one after the other. And usually at that point, just BB spam until they're all down. That's actually the part of this Grand Gaia Chronicle, which is the most difficult for newer players, is to handle all 4 at the same time, because it transitions from being like a boss fight to more of a like AoE at the end. So if your team isn't prepared for AoE as well as single target in this setup, you're not going to do pretty well because your team will be dead. it's actually the 4 heroes at the same time. I think is the most difficult part because there's a lot of things that can go wrong. Getting crit, getting one-shotted, especially from Lauren here, hurts. So here I'm actually going to use Cannon. So I'll regular PB. Because in 2 turns, we'll be getting everybody in, so I want to protect them. All the status elements. That's why I tore it's P. You don't really see it, but it's kind of hurts. Seven stars, the P. And this is where fun starts, because you have Lauren who comes in and starts debuffing everything. So hopefully I'll be able to last one more turn. Then I'll start the PB spam right after this. And Locke has his massive AoEs as well. So bringing a cannon is highly recommended for the extra defense, or as a friend for the leader skill. And this is why Quaid is really good. You do extra damage, then with the Cult Thread, I'm just going to melt through their HP bars. Edea actually takes the longest to kill because she has really huge defense setup, and everybody joins the party. And he starts healing everybody. But at this point, this team is so good. You can just move its auto battle. Toro's effect makes just everybody who attack give status elements. So that's why you can see Dean getting paralyzed. So that helps. If you're looking for more survivability, just bring a unit like Tora and bring a Samira. That works as well. So Dean is poisoned. Edea looks like she's weakened. Luckily now you can click on the units after this turn. And it seems Colt died. Well, I blame Locke. Either way, the team, I don't think I'll even need to revive him. Team is still OP. This is the case where if the unit does get singled out, like as you can see there, Lauren's attack, bam, Tor is dead. So if you don't want their units to die as much, you bring Cannon as probably as a friend. Or you bring units like, instead of just Quaid, you bring Fiora and Arden to give them attack down, because they do hurt. These are still 7-star units getting wrecked because of the negation and getting focused out. But either way, I don't think people should have too much trouble. Worst case scenario, one of the units die. Here, bringing a Blighted to a cult came to hurt me a little bit, but it's no big deal. Looks like everybody's dying pretty quickly. Locke and Warrens are already down, so I should have no troubles anymore. Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate that units did die, but RNG, what can you do sometimes? And Edea really just mitigates like all the damage to one sometimes. The sphere that you get, Lafdrania, I think is based off of her armor, which basically protects her from any form of damage. For a more conservative setup, I'd suggest you bring a Trident somewhere. Maybe Trident and Cannon works as leads. If you want to be super safe, in that case, I suggest you bring Selena, Diana, Lily, stuff like that for BC generation against single target enemies, and 2 mitigators if you can't maintain SPB for your mitigator. That way you'll basically never die, and you'll have enough BB. It'll just take longer, because with this setup, for the most part, even though you die, it just gets it done a lot quicker. And now it's just basically just leave it on auto, and Edea is the only one left. Fortunately, this will still take quite a bit, as she does take the longest to kill because of her armor OP. The sphere you get from this dungeon though is quite useful for your mitigator and your healers, or basically units that you don't want dying ever. It makes them immune to crit and makes them immune to getting hit with extra elemental damage. So for example, Shara wouldn't get destroyed by like Earth unit who's single targeting her, because all the damage that would normally be 1.5 times stronger is only one multiplier of 1. So it's basically like Dark Unit attacking her. It would have been better if they made it do half damage, but that would be even more broken. And on top of the 50% defense, I think that's good enough. So Edea died once. She has the Angel Idol buff. She gets, get another lease on life. And here, just auto battling down. And she's dead. Rip. This is probably one of the longer Grand Gaia Chronicles, because they feature all 4 units, one right after the other, and then all of them at the same time. That was A New Hope, much like Star Wars. And that's the team. If you want to do a safer setup, I do recommend bringing a Cannon friend instead, or Trident as both of your leads. But make sure you had a lot of BC generation on your other units.